Hey, tata, baba kata kibabu etafuna, bobi ba kibabu beruke, basebo men, ngoyara kiba tuna beruke, yone buri osemboka, beka renga monto tabule roboro engoine. Mereka mekosane, meka lirenga, badate bakosane, matonge mere, mari kumbango, matonge rowo, rowo na mondo na makongo, mari tubango ebuli mbokae, yeah, what's okay, ongenyo ngango emaburwaba doko bura mbari abesuwa sikenane nane manda mundabe owere mungombe ofinge ngoti okisebe sanja manda mundabe owere mungombe ofinge ngoti okisebe sanja nanango wana moringa tete nanango wana moringa tete okibe sanja nanango wana moringa tete dumbi fiki manda mundabe owere mungombe ofinge ngoti wakisebe sanja manda mundabe owere mungombe ofinge ngoti wakisebe sanja nanango wana moringa tete nanango wana moringa tete ose Obertune, senior, Naseri Pobea, very fresh, shake your back, shake. Sonja netongo mukete, sonja me como mango, sika party police, yeah yo, eroko. waka foko fulana foko mwene kono. Iye bani mukambie Sako. Ukani aingo biyo imasikona aingo biyo imasikona
Nana nyongo tikira kaongwa nemo Nana nyongo tikira kaongwa nemo Aingo biyo imasikona Aingo biyo imasikona
Ayo bo aingo biyo imasikona aingo biyo imasikona
Nana nyongo tikira kaongwa nemo Nana nyongo tikira kaongwa nemo Aingo biyo imasikona Aingo biyo sikona
Raymond Meboka Nonkwasa kengo
right, ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to ABS Africa Broadcasting Service, coming to you from the great state of Texas. It's always a privilege to come to you with updates on the Amazonian struggle for self-actualization. Again, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. For those of you joining from where it is all happening on ground zero, ground one, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for those of you who are joining in from the diaspora. I'm talking about the continental USA, talking about China, that is Asia, then South America, talking about all of Europe, all of you in Europe, and wherever you find yourself across the globe. Again, it's always a privilege to come to you with updates on the Amazonian struggle for self-actualization. So a lot of things to bring to you tonight, and I want to believe that for those of you who are joining by way of the social media, precisely Facebook, we want to see, as usual, the numbers jumping, because this is going to be informative, educative, inspirational. As usual, we do not come here to entertain people. We come here to inspire people, especially those of you and all of us who are engaged in seeing that Amazonia becomes a free country. So please, if you are watching by way of Facebook, I call upon you to go ahead and quickly hit your share button. So in the very next 5 minutes, let's see at least 1,000 people on that platform, in that platform. So please go ahead and hit. I can see the numbers are truly jumping. The numbers are truly jumping. You are doing an excellent job, ladies and gentlemen. So please, if you have just joined the platform, go ahead and hit your share button. Go ahead and hit your share button. Let's get at least 1,000 people in the next 5 minutes. So much to talk to you today about, so much going on the ground, where we'll call ground zero. And of course, in the diaspora, and precisely at the interim government of Amazonia. We're going to be bringing you our analysis, our opinion, and of course the news that is happening. But before we get there, again, I'm craving your indulgence to please go ahead and hit your share button. Let us quickly populate the platform. I will also be joined by our country and regional coordinators who have just been elected to re-galvanize our Amazonian countries and regions in the diaspora. Now, you will recall that until the phenomenon known as LGA by LGA and county by county, the only thing we had before then were the regions and the countries. Now the countries referring to like USA, Canada, even the USA was further broken into different regions. Then you had Europe, London, Germany, France, Belgium, and all these other countries across the globe. They were broken into regions. Europe was actually broken into regions due to its largeness. The US was also broken into regions for her largeness. And then you had countries like China, maybe Mexico, maybe, all over the place, So recently, the coordinators of those countries and regions came together and elected a new executive. They're going to be here today with me to be sharing with us what they plan to do in the days ahead. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, their take on the events which you all know going on at the interim government of Amazonia. Of course, we have also learned that Dr. Sako was going to be, or let me put it in the present tense, is, ladies and gentlemen, going to appoint a new vice president. We learned about that yesterday. We're going to be talking just a little bit about that. We're going to use another occasion to talk about it. But for as long as it is news, of course, we cannot pass by it. We got to do a little commentary and information about that. So thank you again, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in. Please, you go ahead and hit your share button so I can come to you with this presentation proper. All right. Just like to remind you, ladies and gentlemen, of our website. You like to support ABS, you go to the website absafricatv.com, absafricatv.com. And you want to contact us, again, the email address you will find on the screen is info, ladies and gentlemen, info at ABS Africa TV. Info at ABS Africa TV. That is how you reach us. Now, I'd like you to know also that ABS is not just for Amazonia, ladies and gentlemen. I've seen many of you saying, hey, Sector Chris, where is the flag? Where is the flag? Please, my apologies. I like to make this very, very clear to you. ABS isn't ABC. ABC is state property, and they have the right to carry the flag and to use the flag colors. Now, if you watch the colors here at ABS, they are not white and blue, intentionally so. The colors here are essentially white and red and any other colors. That is also intentionally so because, again, as I announced to you in the past weeks, this channel is Africa News 24/7. Africa News 24/7, and that is why you will not see the amber flag flying here anytime, of course. But you know we cover amber 50%, ladies and gentlemen, 50% of all the time. I mean all the time, even when we launch the news, the daily news here, it will be, amber will be at least 50 times or 35, 40 times a day or every day. So that is why you will not see the amber flag flying here. But let me add this, that when need be, of course, you will see it again only when the need is there. So please, again, thank you for tuning in. Please go ahead, hit that share button, so that I can come to you, ladies and gentlemen, with the presentation proper. Again, I'm going to be joined tonight by two powerful Amazonians who shall be giving us their take on what is going on in Amazonia and the restoration struggle tonight. All right, I see the numbers jumping again. Go ahead, ladies and gentlemen, hit your share button. Now, let me go ahead and start this presentation with you today. We're in a very, very sad note. I start the presentation in a very, very sad note, ladies and gentlemen. Today, we learn of the assassination in Kamende of a very, very die-hard Amazonian, though he was still there in the La République du Cameroon's Senate. I am here talking about Senator Barrister Henry Kamende, who was assassinated last evening, ladies and gentlemen, in Bamenda. We have learned that his assassination was conducted, ladies and gentlemen. His assassination was conducted by some three French Cameroon gendarmes and police officers, and we have gotten their names. We've gotten their names as two gendarmes and a police officer responsible, ladies and gentlemen, responsible for the murder of this barrister. You have one Bongne Stefan, a gendarme, and then one Keme Lavoisier. I can't really pronounce that name. It's a La République du Cameroon name, and another one whose name we got only as Jogen, a police officer. Again, the first one is Bongne Stefan, a gendarme. The second one, Keme Lavoisier. And the third one, a police officer with the name Jogen. Those are the French Cameroon officials responsible for the assassination of Barrister Henry Kamende, the man whose face you find next to mine there, ladies and gentlemen. He again was assassinated last night in Bamenda. We are told around the entrance into Ndamokong Street in Bamenda. Now, we don't have a lot of details here, but this is what we know. We have been informed that Senator Barrister Henry Kamende was abducted. He had gone to the gas station to buy gas, I guess. But upon getting at the gas station, there was no gas. Then he had to drive to a location where you would buy this, what they call funge, second-hand gas, they sell from by the side of the road. I understand. So stopping by the side of the road to buy this second-hand gas, petrol. He was surrounded by these killers, ladies and gentlemen. Bongne Stefan, Keme Lavoisier, and one Jogen, a police officer. So Barrister Henry was surrounded by these gun-toting French Cameroon officers. He was picked up and driven away, and then shot at his ribs, ladies and gentlemen, shot at his ribs at Imquen. I don't remember the location precisely, but he was shot at Imquen that evening by these three French Cameroon gendarmes and a police officer. Now he was left to die, and they drove off with his car. The two gendarmes and one police officer, they drove off with Barrister Kamende's car to an unknown destination. An Okada rider, the neighbors who had heard the gunshots, they all vanished. You know what it means at the heard of gunshots in any place, in any town, in any village, people run away. And so when the neighbors who heard the gunshots, everybody vanished, everybody disappeared into hiding because they didn't know what was going on. An Okada guy, a bike rider, came across Barrister Kamende lying there helpless, still bleeding, still alive. And the Good Samaritan bike rider succeeded to carry him, transport Barrister Kamende to the hospital. Now, right at the hospital, we understand he was still alive, but the bleeding, ladies and gentlemen, the bleeding was horrible. He could not survive the bleeding. But before he died, I learned reliably, he told the nurses and the doctors attending to him at the hospital, please saved the life of this Okada rider. He is not responsible for the shootings. He is a good Samaritan. That, ladies and gentlemen, is what Barrister Kamende, some of the last words coming out of his mouth before he finally passed out of uncontrollable bleeding, He told the nurses, he told the doctors attending to him, please spare the life of this good Samaritan, the Okada guy. He almost saved my life. Or in fact, I thought he was like saying he saved his life. But unfortunately, he died. He passed out of just too much bleeding. He was shot at the ribs, and I guess it took a little while for this Okada guy to drive by and find him lying in the pool of his own blood, and they succeeded to get him on his machine to a nearby hospital where he died, bleeding. Now, I am sure that so many of you out there know Barrister Henry Kamende. Barrister Henry Kamende was, ladies and gentlemen, a senator of the SDF, a senator of the SDF party in La République du Cameroon. He is one of those we have tried persuading to walk away from that damn Senate and damn country. He didn't. He never walked away. However, I can say with all assurances, Barrister Kamende had Ambazonia at heart, ladies and gentlemen. In fact, he was only he was only one of the two or three, I think only two senators of Ambazonian extraction, ladies and gentlemen. I would say three. Mola Moki, is it Mola Moki, former mayor of Boya, then Enhon Mukete, then Barrister Kamende. These are the only three senators, Southern Cameroonians, who stood in the floor at a point in time, the floor of that damn Senate in Yaoundé, to call their attention to the carnage and the genocide going on in Ambazonia. I spoke with him about 4 months or so ago. Remember when he had attempted donating some tables and furniture to the High Court officials in Bamenda, and they were turned down. He called me after I spoke about that incident on television, and he called me and was explaining to me why he was donating the furniture to the court. And I left knowing that this is a man who has Ambazonia at heart, though he didn't walk away from that damn Senate like Honorable Weber did, walking away from the damn parliament in that same damn country. But he died in an unfortunate way, ladies and gentlemen. It is pathetic. It is exactly what La République du Cameroon continues to do when they are not killing children, school children, teenagers. Ladies and gentlemen, they are going after people who have been vocal against their colonialism, against their enslavement, against their marginalization of the Southern Cameroons. Barrister Henry, may God bless you. We hope that you rest in peace, as people say. It was unfortunate missing you in that way today. We were told that Barrister Henry left up station Bamenda, ladies and gentlemen. He left up station Bamenda, and at the time this happened, we are told he was actually, I think he was doing some construction, where we learn, around that Ndamokong area, and he had picked up some construction workers heading for that location when this shooting took place. So, that is it. We will stay on this story until we get to the details of it in the days ahead. But for now, we want you to know this is what we know. This is what we have learned about the assassination of this powerful Ambazonian. We hope to get a statement from the SDF. We are quite inquisitive to know what the SDF is going to say, if any action that they are going to take. Again, one more Ambazonian cut down, ladies and gentlemen, by French Cameroon gendarmes and police officers. We continue, and when I say we, I mean those of us at the leadership of the Ambazonian struggle, that there isn't any reason why we still have gendarmes, we still have French Cameroon police walking freely in our territory. One of the signs, as I indicated here in my last broadcast, when you know you are driving the occupier and the colonizer away from your territory, is when you begin to eliminate, extinct, ladies and gentlemen, the military and security apparatus of the enemy, to the extent they are not carrying out these random killings and the genocides that we have seen in Pinyin, the genocides we have seen in Bali, the genocides we have seen in Ngarebo, the genocides we have seen in Kwakwa, in Moyoka, in Ekona. You can name the rest. We must, in Ambazonia, we must take this very, very seriously. French Cameroon officers, gendarmes, police must be gotten rid of, ladies and gentlemen, from our territory. Until we do that, until we begin to do that, would the world believe us that we are serious in this quest for the extinction of La République du Cameroon from Ambazonia? And one of the signs of that extinction, again, has to be with the sabotage of everything economic in Ambazonia, sponsored or organized by La République du Cameroon. I'm going to come back to this another day. But let me get to another subject, which is that of AFCON. AFCON, ladies and gentlemen. Today, being Wednesday, January the 12th, AFCON matches, the much anticipated AFCON matches, ladies and gentlemen, took place or began in Victoria. It began in Victoria today with Mali pitted against Tunisia in the first match, and the second match was going on. But one thing you will observe is the emptiness of the stadium that hosted the matches in Victoria. They were told the stadium was vacated. Ambazonian choose to stay home and not to validate the emptiness, the vanity that is so-called AFCON. As you will see from the grandstands, that Ambazonians refuse to go out and validate that sham of a tournament. Ambazonians refuse to go out to validate the sham of a tournament. Now, ladies and gentlemen, before then, Ambazonian restoration forces demonstrated, ladies and gentlemen, they demonstrated their prowess in Boya by launching out and facing La République du Cameroon army in Boya. In Boya. Now, I'm going to bring you some images here. This is what took place, ladies and gentlemen, in Boya today. Observe. Observe now. This is what happened in Boya today. That happened in Boya this morning. Of course, for those of you in Boya and all of Ground Zero, all of Africa in particular, this was in the morning. It is night there. But for those of you in the diaspora, this was this morning. And again, the images continue. This was again in Boya. You can see people running for their lives in Boya with the gunshots. We understand this is Moliko Stadium. This is the Moliko Stadium where French Cameroon military had been called in when the shooting began. The Malian team was in a practice session. They were in a practice session, and the military was there to intervene to make sure that the players were safe, ladies and gentlemen. Again, I understand this was in the Moliko Stadium in Boya. The shooting went on for a while, and unfortunately, we have learned some people ended up dead. Some people ended up dead. A taxi driver was shot and killed. We do not know yet who is responsible, ladies and gentlemen. We do not know who is responsible. But we are told a taxi driver whose image you find right here was shot and killed. In Boya. This guy, the person you find on the screen, that is a taxi driver. And this one, we understand, a farmer who was going to farm got caught up in the shootout, I guess, and was killed also this morning during that confrontation. That is what is happening in the southern Cameroons, ladies and gentlemen, and in the midst of the so-called AFCON. In the midst of the so-called AFCON, people are slaughtered, people are killed, and the African Union is out there with a competition in the southern Cameroons. They are there with a competition in the southern Cameroons. Of course, Ambazonia made it very clear before these matches that they will not entertain these matches taking place, ladies and gentlemen, in their territory. And you could see that in the attendance. You could see that in the attendance that Ambazonians made up their minds. They made up their minds to stay home. They made up their minds to stay home, and they show up. The attendance was a mess, even as the day started with a mess. Ladies and gentlemen, what you have, the image you have right there on the screen, that was the match between Mali and Tunisia. We are told the referee of the match had to end the match prematurely for whatever reason is what we do not know. We do not know. The match ended the referee called off the match 5 minutes. 5 minutes before it ended, and Mali was leading 1-0. That means only 1-0, and you know that 5 minutes in a football game is a lot of time. It's a lot of time, and lots of things can happen. But the referee called off the match 5 minutes to time. For whatever reason is what they will not allow any of us to know. Whatever the case, whatever the reason was, we are going to find out, because nothing they say can be hidden under the sun. Nothing they say can be hidden under the sun. But the congratulations, ladies and gentlemen, goes to Ambazonians in all of Sako and the southern zone in general. You heeded our voices and you stayed home. We urge you, we continue to urge you. AFCON is not there for us. AFCON is not there to support us. AFCON is not there to bring some extra money into your pocket. It is there, ladies and gentlemen. It is there to destroy our fight. It is there to destroy the fight we are waging against La République du Cameroon to take back our country. Just imagine that you people went to the stadium to watch these matches in your thousands. This war would be over. This war would be over. But no, you did not go. You stayed home to send a message to La République du Cameroon that Ambazonia did not invite AFCON. And Ambazonia would never invite them, not until the African Union shows that they care about some other Africans, about particularly Ambazonian lives. Now, ladies and gentlemen, having said so, I would like to say this, which is very, very important. We did not set out to only stop attendance for these marches. We set out to stop these marches. And as those marches go on unstopped, I'm going to come back to it. Again, I will be coming back to talk about why. Why is it that we did not stop the marches? That will be for another day. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, I take you to another subject of the day. The politics of the Ambazonian struggle. Again, the politics of the Ambazonian struggle. Now, today, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know whether it was today or was yesterday, the Restoration Council sent out a statement, ladies and gentlemen, formally announcing elections at the interim government in 6 months, January to June. I would like to bring that statement to you and read it to your hearing. This is that statement from the Restoration Council today. And I know you cannot read that statement, but I will tell you what it says, ladies and gentlemen. I will tell you what it says. Now, this is what the statement says, ladies and gentlemen. I would give me 1 second here. Let me get you that statement and read for those of you who cannot read the statement. bring that to you. Now, this is what the statement from the Restoration Council says. Again, it is dated January 8, 2022, and titled The Restoration Council Votes to Extend Presidential Mandate pending finalization of electoral modalities. Again, dated January 8, titled The Restoration Council Votes to Extend Presidential Mandate pending finalization of electoral modalities. Again, and the statement follows, cognizant of the November 16, 2019 Restoration Council letter announcing its vote for a new president, Dr. Samuel Sako, as interim president of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia. Paragraph 2, cognizant that the same letter stated a tenure for President Samuel Sako being 2 years, allowing for the expanded Restoration Council within its legislative mandate to work on an electoral procedure for future elections. The Restoration Council, sitting in session on October 30th, again October 30th, 2021, voted to extend the president's mandate by 2 years, while continuing to work on the electoral modalities. But, not but, ladies and gentlemen, be it known, the statement goes, be it known that the Restoration Council in session on January 8, that is, I think about 4 days ago, on January 8, 2022, again voted to redact its prior October 30th, 2021 vote by replacing it with another motion which passed, stating as follows: the current president of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia, Dr. Samuel Sako, will continue in office for 6 months, that is, beginning January to June 2022, while the electoral modalities are put in place, which will involve all the arms of the interim government. Thereafter, elections will proceed. Now the letter continues. The Restoration Council, in light of this, is requesting President Samuel Sako, within his constitutional authority, to call for the Constituent Assembly to initiate the process for an amendment to the interim constitution that will allow for this process to proceed. Signed, Elvis Commenter, Chairman, on behalf of the Restoration Council. Ladies and gentlemen, again, that statement issued on the January 8th by the Restoration Council, signed by the Honorable Chairman Elvis Commenter, giving President Dr. Samuel Sako 6 more months within which the Restoration Council would figure out modalities for conducting new elections as stipulated in the announcement stipulated during the inauguration of Dr. Sako 2 years ago. Now, in another letter that was signed December 30th, the Restoration Council, in anticipation of these elections, ordered the President, Dr. Samuel Sako, to stay away from any new appointments and or reshufflement. Now, that is now leading up to the announcement yesterday that today Dr. Sako will be appointing a new vice president. We do not know who that vice president is at the moment, but I guess if you are out there, you may have known it by now, but being that I am in the studio live, I cannot tell, but I guess before I end this broadcast, I will be able to know whether that appointment has been made and who exactly is that appointment. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I have that information. Here. Eric Ate, I am told, is the appointed, ladies and gentlemen, new vice president, the new vice president for Dr. Sako. I would not say for the interim government, for very, very strategic and very, very strategic reasons. Because, again, the Restoration Council limited the powers of the president from making any appointment or reshufflement until the elections are conducted. If he wins elections, he has all the rights to make his appointment. But if he loses the elections, then the new president then would have that right to appoint his cabinet and his vice president. But as we have it now, with this new appointment, ladies and gentlemen, President Sako has essentially, who is actually in a lame duck period. Again, President Sako, who is actually in a lame duck period, has essentially, ladies and gentlemen, caused a split in the interim government. What he has just done is what we will call a split in the interim government. Now, he has picked up a fight with another institution of the interim government, that institution being the Restoration Council. Because whoever he picks up, the Restoration Council has to vote and approve that person. It is their constitutional duty to do so. And if and when the Restoration Council says, we had issued you a statement not to make any appointment, you went ahead to do it, we are not going to vote that person, it is essentially a dilemma. But ladies and gentlemen, what is going on is exactly the issues that made me to walk out of that cabinet, I think about 2 months ago. We should know this, and I really hope that you guys out there hear me. And before I say that, I want to remind you on Wednesday, I will be out with a very, very elaborate statement on the issues going on at the interim government. I refuse to make that statement while the Restoration Council was still working on the issues. But on Wednesday, expect a very elaborate statement coming to me to give you my understanding of these issues as they are. But what has been going on, fellow Ambazonians, within the last few, I would say within the last 1 month, is exactly what I call the dysfunctionality that made me to walk out of cabinet. When I walked out of cabinet, some people have said, oh, Irene Gua versus Secretary Chris. Ladies and gentlemen, it was never about Irene Gua and Secretary Chris. It was about the dysfunctionality of this interim government. I made that very clear to the president when I said to him, Mr. President, you want me back into that cabinet, you got to fix it. When I went to the Restoration Council, I made it very clear the government was dysfunctional from cabinet to the local government to the counties and to the countries and the regions. And I said it must be fixed. And I made it very clear, ladies and gentlemen, to the president, If those problems are not fixed, I will not be back. I am not one of those who is serving in this struggle because of position, because I want to go to Boya to be a minister, as I see some out there who would prefer this chaos than look for it means we can have a government that works, ladies and gentlemen. But I'm saying this to say that what has gone on, what the president continues to do within the last 1 month or a little more is exactly what I call a dysfunctionality at the interim government. You have seen the president pitting himself not just against me, now against his vice president, the vice president who has been, ladies and gentlemen, the machine behind the successes of this interim government. I can assure you that, and many of you who know Dr. Abongwa will say, yes, indeed, Dr. Abongwa has been the machine behind the successes of this interim government. If you talk about LGA by LGA, county by county, cabinet, and all the other departments and the directorates in this interim government, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Abongwa will take the credit for making them to work. But you see what is happening? Problems on the table. Problems on the table. Instead of the president sitting down to address those problems. In fact, just think about this for a second. Aringwa is accused, not just by Chris Ano, but essentially by every tier of the interim government as being a destabilizing force within the government. Guess what happened? She is still there. Sako prefers her to his own vice president, ladies. And again, for myself, I really don't care. You guys know that I don't need to belong to the government to be useful in this struggle, ladies and gentlemen. But he chooses to keep Aringwa to his own vice president. I am believing that in the days ahead, we are going to find out what exactly exists between Aringwa and Dr. Sako, to the extent that there are financial allegations being reported against her, upon which we are hoping that the audit committee will delve into this and bring out those financial improprieties. Yet, the president chooses to fire his own vice president to Aringwa. The president chooses to pick a fight against the Restoration Council to Aringwa. The president chooses to pick a fight against the chairman of the Restoration Council to Aringwa. The president chooses to split the government, ladies and gentlemen. The president chooses to split the government. Again, what he has done is essentially a split of the interim government, because I think if Dr. Sako was someone who respects institutions, he would be quiet and listen to what the Restoration Council is essentially the overseer, ladies and gentlemen, of this structure called the interim government. But instead of following protocol and procedure laid out by the Restoration Council, he is following his own agenda. I will remind you guys watching, listening to the sound of my voice. It's only about a month ago, the Restoration Council summoned all the tiers of the government, all the tiers referring to all the directorates, the cabinet, the LGA chairs, the county chairs, the counties. The Restoration Council summoned all these tiers of the interim government. And they essentially indicted Dr. Sako, ladies and gentlemen. They complain that every recommendation that they have passed to the president. The president has ignored it, went ahead to do his own thing. For example, Sako County. Sako has been in pieces today because the president would not listen to the counsel of some of us who have been very close to him. He will not listen to the counsel of the Restoration Council. Ladies and gentlemen, those Restoration Council recommendations for FACO, they are out there. I believe some of you have seen those recommendations. But the president refused to listen to those recommendations of the Restoration Council. Again, by appointing another vice president today, he again goes against the institution that is the Restoration Council. I am looking forward to the days ahead to see the action that the Restoration Council is going to take. And we are also going to see who votes, ladies and gentlemen. Eric Ate, the new vice president of Sako's faction of the interim government. Again, that is what he has essentially done. That is what he has essentially done, splitting the interim government, ladies and gentlemen, because I know, I have seen, I received messages, I received the calls, I hear, I read what is going on out there, ladies and gentlemen. What he has done today is essentially a split of the interim government. But I have this to say. I like to calm down, every one of you out there. Calm down, every one of you out there, especially if you are on ground zero. I have said here before that some of us will be killed, ladies and gentlemen, before this interim government is destroyed. Dr. Sako is not going to destroy this interim government. I got a message for him, sir. You have done some good work over the 3 years or so that you presided over until this moment. You will either resign honorably, and be respected, earn your respect as one of Ambazonia's presidents, or you will be ejected in a very, very aggressive manner, ladies and gentlemen. That is a message I sent to the president. Again, you want to keep your honor and your integrity. That is assuming you have one, because a lot of allegations out there that we're going to be getting into it in the days ahead. But you want to earn some honor and respect as former president of Ambazonia. So you would have to honorably step down so you can still have some respect for yourself out there. But for you Ambazonians, I would like to assure you, the overwhelming majority of you have spoken and you have made it very, very clear. Sako has to go. Sako must go. He will not split the interim government. The only way Sako would stay, take me very seriously, the only way he would stay, ladies and gentlemen, is if he stands for elections and wins. Nobody is stopping him. Nobody wants to prevent him for standing elections. If he stands elections and win, ladies and gentlemen, he has a legitimate mandate. But saying that he will not stand for elections, I don't know what examples we want to set here. We are running away for a country that denied us good leaders, a country that told us only poor beer was good for all of us. And Paul Biya has been there for 40 years. 40 years we were told he is the best thing that happened to La République du Cameroon. And so if he goes, if you vote him down, if you eject him, the country will go down the drain. And so he sat there, and cronies and hand clappers, they kept him there. We are seeing the same thing about repeating itself in this interim government of Ambazonia that we thought is going to be a model in Central Africa. I feel very, very ashamed of this interim government, and I mean it today, because I don't know how the world will be looking at us. A man we voted into office doesn't want to stand elections. He's running away from elections. So let me ask, why do you call it a government, Dr. Sako? Why do you call it a government if you can't stand elections? Why do you call it a government if you can't listen to the Restoration Council? Why do you call it a government? Of course, that is why I have said you have essentially divided the interim government, but that is not going to work. I can assure all of you that it is not going to work, and the message is, please step down honorably before you are ejected. Let me say this now to every Ambazonian out there. Ladies and gentlemen, the president will be under investigations, financial improprieties, some of which I am aware of, ladies and gentlemen, in the days ahead. Because he would not listen to the Restoration Council, I am asking every one of you there, every dime that should go into the treasury that is still controlled and manned by Sako should go into your local government area and your county. Again, listen to the sound of my voice. Every dime until Sako is audited. Ladies and gentlemen, let me break this news here to you. They call for an audit. I am going for an audit on Saturday. Ladies and gentlemen, I am going for an audit on Saturday. And I am again challenging the Dr. Sako to go for an audit. The same thing, he should be the second to go for that audit. I hope the audit committee will call him to be the second person to go for an audit. And all the funds he collected for this struggle and put in his personal pocket. And do not think that I am allergic. It is not an allegation, because I know so many of them. Ladies and gentlemen, I know so many of them. So it is not an allegation. So I hope, ladies and gentlemen, he will be the second government official to go for an audit. Yes, and we are not talking about some of those deals that we are hearing out there, which I shall be talking about them in the days ahead. No, we're not talking about that. The Restoration Council will have to investigate those deals, and you there at the Restoration Council, you must invite Mr. Nanchop to come for your hearing. You must invite Mr. Nanchop to come for a hearing, because Mr. Nanchop has made it very clear he has evidence in keeping of some of these corrupt and fraudulent deals that Dr. Sako has carried out. I know some of them. I'm going to be talking about them, ladies and gentlemen. But listen to me, for the moment, please, every dime of yours, Ambazonians, listen, every dime of yours should go to fund the war in your local government, in your county. If you do not know your county, you do not know your local government, please make those findings. Let no dime go to a split, a second IG that Dr. Sako has now set out there. We should not allow that to happen. In the meantime, I'd like to inform all of you, we're going to be having a very, very important APP meeting tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be having a very, very critical APP meeting tomorrow. Now, for those of you who know what APP is the largest intergovernmental body here at the interim government. We're going to be having a very, very critical meeting tomorrow. If you are a county chair, if you are an LGA chair, a country leader, please make sure you are in that meeting that is coming up tomorrow. Now, I'd like you to know, this APP forum, which is the largest intergovernmental is essentially the forum that houses every tier of the interim government. It will interest you to know that only 2 weeks ago, Dr. Sako, sensing opposition to what he is doing, went and created another one. He has not only done so, he has also now created little factions here and there. Some are women groups, some are, they call them, is it Friends of Sako or Friends of the President? Ladies and gentlemen, a president with popular support does not do that. A president who has the struggle at heart solves problems. Again, he solves problems. He doesn't create factions, he solves problems. And this is exactly what this man is doing to this struggle. But again, I can assure you, ground zero, please, you don't have to worry. This struggle will not go down because of Sako. This struggle will pick back steam, and it will be stronger, more than ever before. Give it a few weeks. Give it a few weeks, ladies and gentlemen. The interim government, as I said here a few weeks ago, nobody will break this interim government. I will not call what Sako is doing a breakage already, but that is the road, the route he is heading to. But I can assure you, this interim government will not be broken. Sako will not destroy this interim government for as long as some of us are still here, ladies and gentlemen. And let me assure you, I am not, Chris Anu, take it to the bank, is not interested in the leadership of the Ambazonia interim government. Take it to the bank. I have never been, I am not looking forward to it, but I will do everything. I will put my life on the line, ladies and gentlemen, to make sure that this interim government stands and is not destroyed by anyone. All right. So I hope you all get that. Again, Wednesday is going to be very, very critical. I shall be having a very, very important presentation, doing a very special presentation on these issues, the problem that you have heard about in this interim government. Why we are here today, ladies and gentlemen, if we had a leader who listens, who solves problems, we will not be here today. On Wednesday, I shall be bringing you that story. You just don't want to miss it. Now, also on Monday, I'm going to be having another powerful guest here. Going to be having another powerful guest here. On Monday, I am not releasing the name to you. I am keeping it just as I did with Thibaut Nage. But I want you to know, mark your calendar, Monday, I'm going to be having a very, very important personality, government personality. When I mean government, I do not mean La République du Cameroon government, nor Ambazonian interim government. I mean an international government, ladies and gentlemen. That will be on Monday. Now, I am being joined, ladies and gentlemen, by Comrade Mike Fusi. I'm being joined by Comrade Mike Fusi. Comrade Mike, if you can please bend your camera a little bit, please. That will be great. And centralize yourself, please. Okay, centralize yourself again to the right. Yes, that is good. Bend it down a little bit again. Bend it down a little bit again. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I will now take you to the panel, and again, I am joined by Comrade Mike Fusi. Mike Fusi is the new chair of the countries and regions, the new chair of the countries and the region. Now you will recall that in this interim government we have again regions. We are split into regions, countries. You come to the USA, you have regions. You go to Europe, you have regions. Then in the rest of the world you have countries, like for example China, maybe Ghana, Nigeria, and so on and so forth. Now this arrangement was created from the last conclave that brought in this interim government. But since the creation of county by county and LGA by LGA, the countries and the regions suddenly and subtly went missing in the midst of action. But we are learning that right now they are putting the house back into order, and they are coming back very, very strong to do what they ought to be doing. And last week, oh yes, it was last week, they elected Mike Fusi, the man with a golden voice out there in audios, to become the new chair of the countries and the regions. Ladies and gentlemen, Mike Fusi, Mr. Chairman, it's a pleasure to have you here, sir.
Secretary Chris, thank you for having me on your show this afternoon. I'm glad to be here.
All right, thank you. We are having Sako versus Restoration Council on the screen. We are going to skip on that subject and come back to it later, but let us go to this subject that concerns the reorganization that we are seeing in the countries and the regions. An election took place a few days ago, and you became the chairperson of that organization. Now, the countries and the regions have essentially been dead for a number of years. Tell us, how do you plan to regalvanize these countries and the region? Because as you will tell, this is the backbone of the diaspora and the backbone behind the support that Ground Zero gets. What do you plan to do?
Yes, Secretary Chris, as you rightly said, even the formation of the interim government initially was pioneered by the countries and regions, and at the time we didn't have the LGAs. But then when the LGAs were created, the momentum kind of moved to the LGAs because of the advantage of being in close contact with Ground Zero as opposed to the countries and regions which were more in the diaspora. The activities of the countries and regions have mostly been resource mobilization and diplomacy. So that is what we have mostly been preoccupied with, and we raise funds to support the struggle and also do diplomatic outreach to the various diplomatic organizations and institutions out here in the diaspora. At some point, like I said, when the momentum was taken from us, and then again, given the fact that we kind of shifted from diplomacy abroad to action on Ground Zero, people were now more interested in seeing firepower on the ground. So diplomacy was kind of relegated to the background. As you you rightly noticed from Tipo Nagi's interview, I think 2 weeks ago, we have neglected this aspect of our struggle. And coming in now, the countries and regions will try to refocus on this diplomacy again, bring back our regions, bring back more energy into these regions, and try to take back our message to the various diplomatic offices out here in the diaspora. One thing too that has really dealt a blow to us with regards to our diplomacy has been this COVID-19 pandemic. Uh, you would understand that in order to really have some impact diplomatically, you have to face-to-face meetings are very important. You can pick up your phone and call someone and talk, but it's not the same as when you walk into an office. You meet somebody, you look them in the eyes, and you hand them material that is relevant to the struggle, which is what we did prior to the COVID-19. We were down in DC and we went to places, and all the Congress halls we went to and handed material that was pertaining to our struggle. But with the emergence of COVID-19, we could not do that anymore, and that has been very much, it has had a very negative impact on our diplomatic outreach. And we are praying that in the months ahead that this thing gets under control, so that we would have the chance to go out there and do what we normally have to do in the various offices.
Now, another aspect that has been very, very lacking is our defense structures. And talking about that, I'm referring to the ANSC, which has been largely unfounded. You will recall that we are in this AFCON, we have been campaigning and trying to stop AFCON, and the ANSC barely was given a dime to try to carry out effort at stopping this AFCON. Don't you think one of the areas that the countries and the regions can specialize in the most is funding the ANSC, considering that the ANSC, they are not in any particular local government or counties. Mm-hmm. It should be the responsibility of Amazonians to take care of the ANSC, because again, the ANSC can do a lot where we don't have forces. So don't you think that is an area that the counties and the regions can pick up and really focus on and empower the ANSC with funds?
Absolutely. Besides diplomacy, we have also realized that there are areas where the ANSC may want to go in and do some surgical operations. Without going into any details, we're trying to see how we can create a partnership with the ANSC, and even working with the county leadership and RGA leadership to see how we can identify areas that can yield. When I say yield, in terms of being vulnerable to La Republique, where we can exploit opportunities and do some action. We will explore those options and see how we can exploit them for the benefit of our struggle. We are beginning to make the necessary contacts. I won't go into any details with that, to see how such a partnership can be created. But like you said, that's absolutely true. That's something we're looking into, and we'll try to exploit it in the days ahead.
How many regions do we have? How many countries and regions do we have altogether? Have you been able to figure that out?
It's difficult to really put a final number to it, but we have at least about 13, 14 countries and regions that I can say are active. There are some out there that are really not that active. We will be working hard to bring them back to life. But these that I'm mentioning are those that we can really name representatives and who can report on activities within those regions. There used to be more than that, and with movements of people around the world, some of our representatives in some areas have moved to other areas, and there was no one there. And in some areas, you find people who are affiliated to other groups, and we don't have representation. But that's a number that I can count of 12 to 14 right now that we're working with.
All right. And you, before becoming the international chair, you were chair in the Mid-Atlantic. That is
Yes.
that is involving New York, Pennsylvania, Delaware, Connecticut, and New England, I guess.
New Jersey.
New Jersey,
New
right.
Jersey. Yep, that's correct. That's correct. And yeah, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Delaware, Connecticut, and of course New York.
Now, in the era of county by county, AGA by AGA, how do you figure out how countries and regions can be more effective?
Like I said, given the fact that we don't have any direct control of any activities on the ground, we would have to go through the county leadership and all NSC, as we rightly said, to make sure that we have an influence on what happens on the ground. We have mostly operated out here in the diaspora, and our operations, as I previously mentioned, were mostly related to diplomacy and resource mobilization. Those are the areas we've been known to. There was a time, some years back, we also put together a container loaded with stuff and sent to our refugees in Nigeria. So those are the things we normally would respond to. And of course, when I talk of fundraising, there are times when maybe ABC would be running short of funds, and they will come to us and we'll run around and raise funds in support of ABC. Or if we have a situation with our refugees and they reach out to us, we'll try to support. And all such initiatives, that's what we've mostly been doing to support the struggle.
Your spokesperson, Comrade Walters Fondo, was supposed to be joining. I'm learning that he's having some technical difficulties connecting. But you guys are taking over at a very tumultuous moment in I will not say in the struggle, I would say in the interim government. And the counties, the countries, and the regions, they form an integral part of this interim government. I'm sure you listened to my talking points about the president essentially breaking away with a faction of the interim government. I would like to know your opinion about that. I don't want to ask what you guys will do, but I would like to know what you think about these developments.
I would have preferred it to. I would have preferred it to occur in a different way. It is rather unfortunate. The way I look at it is this: any action that we undertake should meet a certain criteria, and I hope that the president has reflected on it very well. Is this action going to unify us so that we have a common purpose as we face the enemy? That is how I look at it. Will it help us to keep our house in order so that we speak with one voice? Will Ground Zero be excited about it? Will they be motivated to do what they need to do to make sure that we have the results we are seeking? And that is how I look at it. And I've always, if you listen to some of my audios, I've always asked every Amazonian, be you an activist or a government official or just a supporter, that every action you take should go to satisfying one purpose and one purpose only. Is it helping to get us closer to Boya? That should be the only parameter by which you determine or you measure your decision whether it is the right decision or not. I'm not the president. I would not want to be in his shoes to to think what he was thinking, but that is how I would have examined this decision. How will it help us to galvanize our resources, to bring other Ambazonians together so that we speak with one voice and be stronger as we face La Republic with a formidable opponent with so much support from outside? Are we helping to unify our house? Is this decision helping us to be together? If it is, then that's fine. If it is not, then it is rather unfortunate. That's how I look at it.
Now, we are now in a crisis where a president who was voted into office and he swore to a 2-year term says, no, I'm not standing elections. I'm going to stay until we get to Boya. Yet, yet ours is called a government. How do you think people who advise against a government will be interpreting this situation? Because if you have a government, if you create a government, if you form a government, then a government means democracy, at least some level of democracy, considering that this is an abnormal situation, an abnormal government. But at least elections, especially when you agreed to it 2 years ago, and then at the end of the day you said, no, I just have to stay in until we get to. Isn't this essentially a political crisis in the revolution, especially in the struggle, especially when the interim government, the Restoration Council is saying, no, you cannot make any appointments until the situation is regularized?
Yes, that takes me back to, I think, when the interim government was formed. I believe it is now being revealed that there was some advice that it was a bad idea to form a government while running a revolution to gain your freedom, that it wasn't the best idea, that we were advised against this decision because when you get into a situation where people now have positions and they have to defend those positions, then sometimes rationality gets out of the window. But where we are now, I know that there is now a dispute between the interim government and the Restoration Council. But the question then is, at this point, who is right? Who is right? If the interim government says the Restoration Council has no powers, and the Restoration Council thinks that the president ought to listen to them, which institution is supposed to be supreme at this point? Is it the president or the Restoration Council? And if no one can decide, then what happens? Because I believe that either we have a government or we don't have a government. And there is the need for each institution to play its role, however imperfect that institution may be, especially in our case where we are operating under abnormal conditions, which is what I think that there should have been an effort or an effort on the part of all the parties to come together, have a meeting, and decide on what to do, because there seems to be some ambiguity in terms of the rules that are supposed to guide these two institutions. That's how I see it. There is some ambiguity that cannot be answered by either of them independently, therefore necessitating the need for both to come out and agree on the rules going forward. But it would be wrong for one of the institutions to claim righteousness at this point and march forward without the other, because those institutions were created for a purpose. There's a reason why the Restoration Council exists, and there's a reason why the interim government exists. The rational thing would be for the elders in the house to come together, sit down, and figure out a way forward. No, none of these institutions independently can solve the problem we have. And at the end of the day, the disadvantage will be on the overall struggle for our independence. And I hope that those adults in the House will really take the initiative to make sure that this situation is actually brought under control. Your order is.
Yes, sorry about that. When you talk about the elders in the House, you will recall that the Restoration Council is essentially the overseer of this government. Unless they have done something unconstitutional, why should they not be insisting on constitutionality to prevail? I mean, some people have said, hey, impeach him if he's not ready to collaborate. I mean, the executive branch collaborating with the legislature. That's what Ambazonians expect, because they weigh checks and balances. In this situation, the person to demonstrate the checks is a Restoration Council. So at this moment, people are saying, if Sako is not listening to the Restoration Council, then he should be impeached. In your own opinion, why should the Restoration Council not consider that?
I wouldn't tell the Restoration Council what to do. I'm just here. I'm here to express my own opinion on how I would have loved for things to happen, and how I think the best outcome that will help to bring us together. Because it will not benefit Ambazonia if at the end of the day this interim government is fractionalized. It goes in factions. It will not benefit us at all.
Absolutely.
And I would hate to see that happen. That would really be terrible. We cannot afford to have another faction in this interim government. So whatever happens, I would love to see the Restoration Council, despite this appointment. The appointment doesn't mean anything. Despite this appointment, the Restoration Council should still seek to work with the interim government to hammer out rules that will guide us and will go forward, so that we don't have this problem again. We can only solve our problems ourselves. We cannot wait for someone else to come and do it for us. We have to do it ourselves.
Absolutely.
And those who truly love this struggle and love to see a free Amazonia will agree to that we need to sit down and hammer the rules, straighten whatever blemishes we have in the rules that we have right now, to make sure that going forward we are clear on what we're doing and where we're heading, and that we don't have this situation occurring again in the future. I would not say that the Restoration Council is absolutely right or the interim government is absolutely wrong. We need to agree. Some are saying that the mandate that was given or that was read during the swearing-in ceremony was not included in the Constitution. That's true. But how about coming together now and making sure that we agree on what the terms will be? Is the president supposed to have a term limit or not? If so, what term limit would that be? We agree on that, put it down in writing, so that tomorrow someone will not say, okay, it's not found in the Constitution. How about that?
Right.
So if we just get into a situation where this group is claiming righteousness, the other group is claiming righteousness, then we will not get anywhere. We won't get anywhere.
Absolutely. We are joined by Mr. Nanchop, all the way from Germany. Let me bring him in to give us his take on the issues that we see we are surrounded with. Mr. Nanchop, good to see you, sir.
Good evening, Secretary Chris. Good evening, ABS TV viewers.
All right, let's delve in straight away. We are learning this evening that Dr. Sako has appointed a new vice president, and Dr. Abongwe was never consulted, was never informed that that replacement was coming in. What is your take on that, sir?
First of all, let me start by defining some words here, such a case. When I came in, I heard the previous speaker talked about government. Amazonians, there is something we need to get understood here. When we talk about the interim government, what do we really understand? Like, what are we talking about? First of all, we should understand that in this context, the government is a means by which organizational policies are enforced. And when we talk about the interim government, we are not just talking about the cabinet. The counties by counties and the leadership must and are taken into consideration here. The judiciary, of course, must be taken into consideration. And of course, the Restoration Council must be regarded as a key holder entity in the interim government of Amazonia. Dr. Sako is the president and the head of the cabinet, because there are some things we get mixed up here. We cannot in any form say that the interim government, this body that is governing this revolutionary war, is functional when we have one part of that government undermining another part of the government. This is not by any means saying that we are not having things that are not correct, but in one essence, we must respect authority. So I wonder to what degree the president is respecting the authority publicly of the Restoration Council as part of the governing body, as part of the interim government, except he doesn't recognize it as part of the interim government. What am I trying to say? We noticed, Secretary Chris, that on the 30th of December 2021, the Restoration Council, in their usual habit, just like in the case of Fako, had given a recommendation letter to the president or to the presidency. And yet, we saw the content of this letter that the president should, at the moment, stop from or prohibit the reshuffling of the interim government or making new appointments. Secretary Chris, as though what you just asked is not that bad, let's think about these Amazonians. The president did not just undermine the decision from the Restoration Council. He went further to make his own appointment. Like this, what the hell are these guys talking about? I am the King Kong. I have the yam and the knife in my hand. I can make and unmake. I can do. This is absolute dictatorship. If you have a better definition for dictatorship, please give it to me. Where somebody will autocratically take a decision and despise any other authority that has equal rights to that decision. It's wrong. We've talked about vetting of individuals when they are being appointed. Listen, Secretary Chris, let's be fair here. The president has the right to appoint whosoever he wants to choose to be his vice president. It's his leadership right. But again, he has to do this in the context of the Amazonian law and constitution. Meaning, he cannot just get up and make that decision. These decisions are being made. What Amazonians must understand is that whosoever is being appointed to certain positions goes through a process of vetting. A process of vetting. I believe in this case, there was no such process. Because again, the president is trying to prove to the world that he's the Superman here. And we saw this again in Fako, and I'm going to talk elaborately on this tomorrow. But to come back to your question, Secretary Chris, this is so wrong. I'm so ashamed that we are experiencing this thing at this time of this struggle. I'm just so ashamed. Like, I was just so shocked to see that Dr. Sako will do this kind of a public disgrace to the people of Amazonia. That he will despise all authorities autocratically make such a decision. And then you just made mention of the fact that his vice, his current vice, Dr. Harrison Abungwa, was not contacted. It will be interesting for Amazonians to know that the president has not been talking to his vice for almost a year now. And again, the reasons are bound back to Iringwa. So we see a situation where the president would rather prefer, this is what the president said to us activists, that his hands are tied when it comes to the decision making of anything that is pertaining to Iringwa, meaning he cannot do anything if he is helpless. In one occasion, he even said people should pray for him, that he feels like spiritually he's been given bad money or tied to whatsoever. Now, if we should put all these images together, Secretary, I'm beginning to see that something is wrong somewhere. And this is where I think the Amazonian people must be very careful, because when you see, like, we activists, we had a meeting with the president. And I was one of those who were very vocal as usual, asking a lot of questions, because I just wanted to get some things understood. But the president again said to us, the activists, and he said to me, Mr. Nancho, clearly in the meeting, the other activists can bear witness of this. He said that his hands are tied in relation to Iringwa. And then this was some months back.
What did he mean by his hands are tied? What was your understanding of that?
Secretary Chris, well, when he said that, I couldn't really make any sense out of it, because I came up with the follow-up questions, because I really wanted him to explain what he mean by his hands are tied. But the only explanation he gave us here, he was trying to, the president has this subtle art of talking, very manipulative. And if you are not somebody that is very smart, and one thing you must do when you're talking with the president, not to fall in his manipulative art of communication, is to make sure that you ask questions and be very sure that you get him by his words. So I did this. I asked him, Mr. President, what do you really mean by your hands are tied? And what is so special about this Iringwa that makes your hands tied? And this is what he said. He said Iringwa is a member of the Amazonian Foundation, and he cannot take away Iringwa, and if he does, it may have some negative repercussions on Amazonians. Secretary Chris, you'll be interested to know that I did some findings to the level of the National Treasury, and I really wanted to know if any of the members of the Amazonian Foundation, including Iringwa, if I thought she's even one. I was so oblique in my findings. I never wanted to be specific about the personality. I noticed that what the president said to us was a lie. Actually, he was just trying to get a pass through the question. So, having this in my mind, I am wondering, as Mr. Nancho, like, what is going on? What is that bond between Iringwa and the president? Secretary Chris, it will be interesting for Amazonians to know that Iringwa made an audio threatening that if the president play, see where he go talk, he go expose him, he go bad pass way to where every tattoo Peter was. I was shocked. There was a time where, let me bring Amazonians back to history. There was a time where there were some cabinet issues, and Iringwa had called me, and then we used to have very good relationships. And she called me in her usual habit. When she has problems with anyone, she will look for an activist that she can pull over, give you information about that individual for you to blackmail them. So she was having this issue with Kukuda Blinks and Yaya Odette in the cabinet. Then she called me and said, that fat Yaya Odette, she was saying some kind of things. And she wanted me to go and play her game of surrogacy. And I told her I won't. But now this is it. She made mention of the fact that if this government continue the kind of way, any man go better open belly for a secret way, no. Now I felt like, what is happening? Well, at that moment, I didn't really take that serious. I knew it was just the emotion of women. When women are angry, they say a lot of things. But looking at the involvement of things present in Secretary Chris, I believe, and I want to say this categorically, without fear or favor, that there is something that is binding. But this is my suspicion. I don't have facts to back this up, but this is my suspicion, that there is something binding the president and Iringwa. And of course, I have done some findings that I'm still to come out with some concrete reasons, but I have things that I can put out there as allegations. But again, Secretary Chris, we want to be careful when we talk about these things. Again, my very instinct are telling me that there is something between the president and Iringwa that Secretary Chris, the president would rather prefer to sacrifice this struggle and the blood of our children than to get that come out to the public.
You
Fear of
had,
sabotage.
those of you activists, you had a meeting with him at the beginning of this crisis for 5 hours. 5 hours. And what did he tell you? Why did he say it was not possible for him to withdraw Irene from cabinet?
Secretary Chris, it will be interesting for you to know that for so many years, for the years we've been handling activism, and of course you're aware of this, we've always had these difficulties correlating in communication between the government and the activists. Now, on this special occasion, we activists, I believe in the past, we've even sought the audience of the president, but he will not grant it to us. Now, let me say this very clearly here, Secretary Chris, in response to your question. You will be shocked in the swiftness of the president's response to act and condone the meeting with the activists. This only came up when the president noticed that we were going out to the public and were exposing things in relation to Irene. The president, within 6 hours, I remember one audio was made by an activist that he addressed Irene and also included the president. Within 6 hours, the president had consulted a meeting and wanted an urgent meeting with the president, with the activists. Now, and Amazonians, get this clear. This was my very first question in that meeting, or first statement in the meeting with the president. As Secretary Chris said, we had a meeting of over 5 hours with the president. We should take into consideration that this was the cooking moment where there were a lot of cabinet issues, and yet the cabinet was going over a month without having a meeting. There were just a lot happening in the cabinet. And I would expect, and I think every rational thinking Amazonian will expect that the president, at least the chief of staff, would call for an organization meeting for people to talk about the things happening in the cabinet. Secretary Chris, you had left the cabinet, and a lot of things were happening, but the president will not give an audience to any meeting. And I learned of the attempt that was made by Lady Marianta, which again was sabotaged by Irene and her gang. This is it. When that meeting was called by the president, my first statement to him was, Mr. President, I'm very, very impressed with the swiftness of you organizing the meeting with the activists, because they are addressing issues of your cabinet. Yet, you have not had that boldness to have a meeting with your own cabinet members on the same issues you want to discuss with the activists. To be very honest before God and man, fellow Amazonians, let me recap the meeting with the president. The main motive to my own conclusion, because after that we had a meeting amongst ourselves, the activists, we really wanted to understand what was going on, what was in the president's mind. We had at least a 2 hours meeting again amongst ourselves, activists, trying to digest the information we got from the president. Let it be known to Amazonians that, again, I was one of the most vocal activists in that meeting with the president, asking questions upon questions, and we came to the conclusion that the president just wanted us to go out and play a game of surrogacy. He just wanted to manipulate us, give us some information. For instance, he made it very clear to us that Secretary Chris is infiltrated. Listen, Amazonians, let's be honest here. If you should come to me, Nanshaw, right? I'm not Nelson Ochiba or one silly surrogate out there. If you should come to me with a message that somebody is infiltrated, I am expecting you to give me facts and proofs. Because when I go out there to talk to the Amazonian people, they don't just want to hear me say this, that. They want me to be able to back those utterances with facts, with credible information. So you will not just come to us, the activists, and you are trying to tell us Secretary Chris is infiltrated, this and that. Secretary Chris, at that moment, I knew personally that Dr. Sako has something against you in his mind. It was a long-planned thing. I'm not just saying this because I'm here talking with you. I will say this anyway, and I'm saying it to the people of Amazonians, because when we see the involvement of things today, then we begin to put the puzzles together, we understand that something is wrong somewhere. Now, Dr. Sako wanted us, the activists, to believe that Secretary Chris is infiltrated. And then he said Secretary Chris made utterances that He had made some utterances on the TV and was trying to, I mean, he was trying to justify that with some, I mean, stupid reasons. Let me use the word stupid in quote. Stupid reasons. Because at the end of the day, none of us, the activists, found any statement from the president as valuable to justify that claim. And this is a shame because we are talking about the president. Now think of how some of us must have felt in that meeting. Secretary Chris, it is no doubt, and I'm not saying this to flatter you, you are a great statesman. I personally, I cherish your commitment to this struggle. Amazonians, let's be honest. This is a man whose brother is fighting. He's the biggest general, or if not one of the biggest generals in Amazonia. We have Secretary Chris's mother, who's been imprisoned because of this war. His family has been highly plagued because of this war. His own personal life, I will not count of how many times we've sat, even done fundraisers to support Secretary Chris because La Republique was raising or is raising lawsuit cases against Secretary Chris. And for somebody to just come up and tell me Secretary Chris is infiltrated, you will need to give me more than just those words, to be honest. You know, the shocking thing about this is, talking about infiltration, we heard Barrister Fo came out the other day and said it on ABC TV that Secretary Chris is infiltrated. Secretary Chris, and this is honest. I've scheduled an interview with you, or I'm planning to have an interview with you. You don't know the questions I'm planning to ask you, but Amazonians, we need to get to the root of this to save this struggle. Because right now, I personally feel like there is a deep-rooted manipulation that is being influenced by La Republique to create a lot of chaos amongst us and destroy our zeal at this moment. Whereas La Republique is perpetrating a devilish act somewhere, and we might get up one morning and we begin to crash our head like, oh my God, is this what was happening at the background? Amazonians, I believe we need to get up. We need to save our struggle. The boys and the girls that die, the bloods cannot go in vain because of ego, pride, position, power mongering, greed. Such a Chris, I can talk on this.
Nancho, before I get back to Mike, let me ask you, has the Restoration Council invited you to present to them the evidence that you have about the fraud and the corrupt practices that you allege of Dr. Sako?
Thank you for that question, Secretary Chris. Thank you very much for that question. Let Amazonians know. Listen, fellow Amazonians, I think, Secretary Chris, the last time you invited me here was the 31st of December 2021. And there were some utterances I made. Before that, even on my show and on Amazonia Freedom Television, I have made utterances about Dr. Sako. Now, Amazonians, please bear with me. I know many of you would want me to just come out and spew out those things I have. But again, we need to respect procedure. We are talking about a situation that is under investigation by the Restoration Council. Nancho, I have approached the Restoration Council and pleaded with them that I have made utterances, I have evidences, and I want them to summon me to the court of Amazonia. Let the Restoration Council summon me to the Restoration Council and question me and at least get my evidences I have. It might be helpful to their investigations. Secretary Chris, you'll be shocked to know that surrogates of Dr. Sako have stand firm in the Restoration Council saying that they will not want Mr. Nanchop to come and make answer any questions or come to the Restoration Council because you might say things that will be detrimental to Dr. Sako. You'll be shocked. And now, this is it. Now, I want every member of the Restoration Council who is in that, but I have audios, Secretary Chris. I have write-ups of members of Restoration Council denying that Mr. Nanchop should not and will not show up in the Restoration Council. These things
can you name them? I mean, it should not be a secret. Name them. Let's know who they are. Who is hindering evidence in the Restoration Council? Because I think the moment has come. We have to start talking about those who are destroying this struggle. If it is in the interim government, if in the Restoration Council, we have to start putting them out and exposing them one by one.
Yes, Secretary Chris, I have audios and I have write-ups. Now, unfortunately, There are no names attached to this. But I'm going to make these things very, very clear and public to the Amazonian people. Because this is so shocking to see that you have members of the Restoration Council that will want to hinder justice in favor of Dr. Sako. Again, I can't understand this thing. Like, are they working for an individual or for the nation of Amazonia? The audios and materials I have them open in front of me. Now, again, Secretary Chris, I'm not ashamed to say this publicly because, first of all, we should understand that. And I want to say this very clearly. Right now, the state of things are very high. The stakes are high. One thing we should understand here, before somebody says Mr. Nanchop is trying to release out classified information from the Restoration Council or wherever, we should understand that the president himself took classified information from the Restoration Council that were sworn upon, recordings made by his vice presidents, and played them in a public meeting of over 100 people. What was he trying to say to somebody like me? That, hey, Mr. Nanchop is correct to get audios from this kind of secret meetings and put them to the public. And that's why, Secretary Chris, in the next days, I'm not going to relent myself. I'm not going to hold back myself because the president has shown us the way forward. He has shown us that it is right, even though we know it is ethically wrong, that it is right to get audios from the Restoration Council, from secret meetings, and put them in the public. And hey, Amazonians, if there was anybody good in that, believe me, Nanchop is good in that.
All right, all right. Let's do this, Mike. I get back to you. Namcho has been talking for quite a while because he just joined. I would like you to jump in, give us your take on all of this, if there is anything you have to say there. And then while you do that, I will open the phone lines. We'll take a few calls before we call it a day. Mike, over to you, sir.
Yeah, all I have to say is this. Like I said, in an institution or in a government like ours, I think every institution matters. For example, we have the RGAs, we have the counties, we have the Restoration Council, and of course we have the cabinet headed by the president. Each of these institutions has specific roles to play in this in the management of this struggle. So my question is, if the Restoration Council's powers don't mean anything, then what other institution out there is supposed to play that role? So the Restoration Council is out there for a reason, and I think their voice should matter. It is not okay to pick and choose when the authority of the Restoration Council should be important. If the powers of the Restoration Council are important at one point, they should be important at all the time, I should say. So by despising the Restoration Council and going ahead with this appointment, I don't have any problem with Mr. REGROUP as a person. I think he's good enough to fit in that role, but is it the right way to go about it? That is about, my concern is the process, not the person. It is the process. Is the process the best one? It is not a person that has been appointed. I think he has all the qualifications to be vice president. But is it the best way to achieve this for this struggle? And to that, I feel that it's not the right way to go about it, because I don't think Amazonians are unified in this decision. It would have been better to do a lot more talking before getting to this point, instead of doing this and then before going back to talk when the action has already taken place. It is very unfortunate for me that we are going through this at this point in this struggle. It is a big demoralizer for our fighters and our support base on the ground.
All right, thank you. Let's get to our phones here and see how many calls we can get from our listeners. Hello.
All right, thank you. Hello.
Please turn down the volume of your set. Turn down the volume of your set, please.
I just did. Yes, I blame many people can recognize this voice. This is Ephraim, calling from San Antonio, Texas. And I have a question for your panel there. I have come to realize that there is a body called the Judiciary or Judiciary Council, something like that. We also have the Ethics Committee. We have, what do you call it, the IOC. My question is, who appoints the members of these bodies? Does the president nominate these people who were appointed? And by this I mean, by nomination I mean, he says, okay, this is the person I nominate, and then he's given the thumbs up or thumbs down by the Restructuring Council. Or he simply goes ahead and picks this people. So if it is just by appointment and it ends there, then we're in trouble because we've put a lot of too much power into the hands of one person, and we see what is happening.
Yeah.
See, it is either a democracy that we're trying to do, or it's not a democracy. So we either just allow one person, the president, to control everything and dismantle these bodies, or we keep them there and then really let them function as they're supposed to function. Select them as they're supposed to be selected in a democracy. Some people argue that no, we don't yet have a country. So why do we have these bodies? They just have somebody there, call him dictator, call him anything, to do all of this. And then we know that he controls everything. But to just have these hand clappers, very unethical people there in the so-called ethics committee, and hand clappers in the judiciary, and all the, and they're doing a lot of damage to the efforts of all of us. See, this IG does not belong to anybody. It belongs to all of us. Doesn't belong to you, Secretary, doesn't belong to Sako, it doesn't belong to me. The IT belongs to all of us. And I was coming to say that. And if we want a democracy, let's get into a democracy.
Thank you.
It's only the president, okay, that's fine.
Thank you. You are absolutely correct. Again, I have said it, ladies and gentlemen. That's why I'm telling everybody, hey, don't say you are leaving the interim government because of what the president has done or is doing. Please, he does not own the interim government. None of us owns the interim government. We all have equal stakes in this interim government. It would be naive and very, very gullible for anyone to say, let's leave it into his hands, let's leave it into their hands. To whose hands? It is your government, ladies and gentlemen. All right, let me get the next caller here. I think this is from London. Hello.
Hello, sir. Good evening, Secretary Chris.
Good evening. Good evening. Is it a ma'am or a sir?
It's a sir calling.
Okay. What is your contribution, please?
Yes, thank you for having me. And I just feel so bad this evening after, hearing what's happened with the new vice president that has been elected by the president.
No, appointed. Appointed. You mean to say?
Yeah, has been appointed. Because I just feel like what is done is really led the struggle in another chaotic. It's a very bad step that is done, and I just wish that they could have at least listened to the Restoration Council for a moment, so that they can at least sort out what's wrong with the cabinet. It's a very bad thing. I will not lie to you. And right now, I just feel like, some of us have been fighting and putting our monies for this struggle. We've all done that in vain.
No, I would not say you even go that far. Listen, I will not say nobody should regret, ladies and gentlemen, supporting this struggle to where it is today. You will agree with me, lots and lots of progress has been made, and we will continue to make it. Listen, what we see isn't going to stop the progress that we have made, and we will continue to make it. The only thing I say to each and every one of you out there, don't give a dime to any government that is led by Dr. Sako. What he has done brings in a constitutional crisis between the Restoration Council and the executive, and as far as I'm concerned, that makes him illegitimate, And I think until he goes through a very rigorous audit to clarify his name from the allegations of fraud and corruption and illegal contracts, Ambazonians can no longer trust him to manage anything. But please, you guys have to stand up and not feel like you want to give up. Yes, finish your statement, sir.
Yeah, I just want to thank you too for opting to start the audit. I think that will be the first step. We need everybody to be audited. Every time that Amazonia has contributed to this struggle, they have to give an account. And those who will not be able to give an account, I'm telling you, I'm saying this now, Amazonia should write it down. We are all in the diaspora. Some of these leaders will have to, they'll be paying for this because people are dying. People are dying on the ground. And what President Sako has just done now is caused more chaos to this revolution. And I have people who right now will come up with a team who will fight for all the time, all the money that we've contributed. They must give an account for all that money. Anybody that's contributed a dime in this revolution must come up now. We need audit. We need people to come up and see everything that they have contributed. We must have proof. Obviously, I have proof of all my contributions I've done. They must give an account. How can a president go against the Restoration Council after the Restoration Council said, just hold on for a moment?
Right.
I mean, I was saying for him the other day, I said they could have at least accommodated him, let it try and see, okay, let's listen to what the president was saying. He says they can amend the constitution. Fine. The Restoration Council would have gone and amended the constitution and then let the election run very smoothly. I mean, there will be no problem. But he's saying that he cannot start. And remember, before he came to this to the government, I remember when he was being sworn in, there was never a time where he raised any concern that the constitution needs to be amended so that the next election can run smoothly. He never said anything of this sort. Now that his mandate is running over, he came and said that you see they need to re-amend the constitution so that election can hold. I think he's being very dishonest as a president. He's not fit to rule Ambazonia.
All right, thank you for the contribution. Let's get to hear from others. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Joe. Bye.
All right.
Yes, let me chip in something there to what the caller just said.
Okay, the phone lines are open, ladies and gentlemen. Let us get this caller. Hello.
Yeah, good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir. Where are you calling in from, please?
I'm calling in from Turkey.
From Turkey. All right, and what is the contribution?
Yeah, I think at this critical moment, I just want to make some few, or chip in some few things. You see, I think right now we have some money left in our coffers. What they have to do, I think auditors should audit Dr. Sako and his team for us to know exactly how much is in that coffers. Then, secondly, when you say the interim government belongs to all of us, it's true, we support the interim government. But yes, what we should do now is to set up a team. Then you made a statement again that they should not give a dime to them, which is very correct. But now, you should lay down, or we should lay down a foundation in such a way that people can contribute and support the guys on the ground. Because if they don't give a dime to them, and you say people should support their county, should money be given haphazardly? So I propose that we should set up, organize a team on how such monies will be donated. You understand? So this is my take. No money should be contributed to the interim government led by Sako, yes, but things should be organized in such a way that those guys on the ground, the refugees, the other people will not be left abandoned.
All right, thank you. I hear you, and I believe that those who have the ability to discuss what you suggest will look into it, and they will come up with better suggestions that probably will be announced eventually. Thank you for the call.
it shows that there are so many things on the ground that he's trying to do. So
these
things should be taken in a very fast pace. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for the call. All right. Let's get to the next caller here from Maryland. Hello.
I want to talk. Good evening, Secretary Chris. Good evening, fellow Ambazonians. I'm calling from Maryland. I want to tell Ambazonians that we are not in this revolution to build dictators. We are not in this revolution to build imposters. We are not in this revolution to build people that don't respect institutions. The days ahead are going to be pregnant. Ambazonians, the days ahead are going to be pregnant. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate the call. All right. I hope Ambazonians, they hear you. Let's take ground zero. Hello.
Yes. Hello, Secretary Chris.
Yes, can you raise your voice a little bit, please?
All right. Thank you, Chris.
Yes, go on. Where are you calling from?
Yeah, I'm calling from the federal capital.
From the federal capital, Boya. Okay. What is in your mind, sir?
Yes. Okay. I would like to greet all the members in your panel, especially Mr. Mike Fusi. I want to salute him in his gentlemanly attitude, in the way he selects his words to say to the public.
Okay.
Thank you for that.
Right, so regarding the second issues at stake, I would like to thank you, Secretary Chris. I heard you mentioning that you will be going for an audit any of these days.
Yes, let me say it again. Yes, I'm going for an audit on Saturday, precisely. And
yes, I'd like to.
I challenge everybody. I will challenge the audit committee, get the president in there next because it is critical. I mean the outgoing president.
Yes. This speaks true to your personality, because I believe that leaders who know what they are doing and they are true to their people will always stand up for audits and to clear their name and to prove to the public that their hands are not tied and they are doing what they have been commanded with them to do. So regarding the aspect of the constitution, the proponents from the Sako faction are championing the issue that the presidential term limit of the president is not mentioned in the constitution. And now along the program you made mention of the fact that the Restoration Council is the supreme organ within the.
Hold on there. Let me educate Ambazonians a little bit on this constitutionality that they are talking about. Ambazonians, listen to me. The Restoration Council has a term of reference. The term of reference is essentially the document that guides what they do as parliamentarians for Ambazonia. That term of reference was signed by both the president, the outgoing president, Dr. Sako, and the chairman of the Restoration Council, Elvis Kamende. Now, part of the article in that terms of reference states that the Restoration Council shall make rules and laws for the future. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, very clear.
So, therefore, when people talking about constitutionality of the Restoration Council, calling elections, swearing in, no, it is in their term of reference. Let Ambazonians understand this, and Dr. Sako sign it. I will make sure that we get that document on the Facebook page of ABS so that you people out there can read it. Besides the Constitution, ladies and gentlemen, there is also the term of reference of the Restoration Council. They are acting within their constitutional rights. Please make your point. Let's get to others.
Okay. I think I raised my case
Thank you.
Basically, shed light on my worry.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a great night.
Okay, Chris.
Okay. Let's see who is next. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, sir. Where are you calling from?
Hello. I'm calling from Dubai.
Okay, thanks for the call. And what is your contribution, sir?
Okay, Secretary Chris, thank you very much, and thank you for giving me the chance to talk.
Thank you.
Yeah, my contribution is about the defense in Amazonia.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm so surprised that we have been fighting this war for the past 5 years, yet the Defense Department is unable to stop the AFCON that just happened in Limbe. I'm so surprised. And there is one idea that I want to give to them. If you go to Nigeria, or even in Amazonia, in Kamende precisely, you will see these little children that they are making this something like an aeroplane that is flying. They use remote. I think we can use something like that, put a grenade inside, send it even to the president, to the governor launch, or even to the stadium, and blow up that thing. That is an idea that we can use. I'm telling you the truth. If you go to Kamende, you will see those children that they are making aeroplane that is flying. They can stand here, make this make it to fly for about 2 to 3 kilometers away.
All right.
Can we not use something like that to put down this Lily Afrique, where this stupid man is staying in Boya, and even the Lily Afrique in Kamende?
All right, we get you this. Thank you. The subject of AFCON, we will discuss it another day for what should be done to bring down those colonial vestiges. Will be a discussion in the back room. Thank you for the call. Right. Let's. This must be Massachusetts. Hello. Hello.
Hello, Secretary Chris.
Hello, good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon, Secretary Chris. This is Franco Mendy, former chairman of the Interim County.
Okay.
I want to greet Ground Zero and our restoration forces. I want to say hello to the viewers who are anchored to the ABS at this moment. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, sir. What is the contribution?
Yeah, I really want to talk for pigeons so that everybody will get me.
That is okay.
We therefore a struggle at this point in time, and we'll get for be very careful the things that we will do. We'll get issues then for inside house. When people they look at the effects of the issues then we will get, and they need to look at the root cause of those issues. It cause a great problem. People they go say, for instance, Secretary Chris a great problem with Secretary Chris no be get for do this. They need to look weighty be the cause of the problem. You don't come to a point where problem don't reach for this level. We'll Restoration Council. The Restoration Council, now the people of Amazonia, every LGA for Amazonia, it be represented at the Restoration Council. Restoration Council, he will come in, he say may they put a hold on every appointment or reshufflement for cabinet so that they try for solve this problem in-house. You get a mandate from the Restoration Council. I'll be there for inside the hall. I'll be one of only 2 county chairs where they will be at the inauguration of Dr. Sako. And it was very clear what was the same people where they put you for chair, you know, get that humility for obey them, for just respect, hold back, say make you see how the thing it go. If you as a president, you be a loggerhead with your own defense, every president for this world, it put a defense team now for your corner, for your bedroom. One of them they keep it. The ANSC is there for it be totally disregarded, unfunded. Ambazonians they get for no say this can it go on for Ambazonia. The funding where ANSC don't get them from
the government, it not be anything beyond $5,000. What can you do with $5,000 with the mobilization way La Republic he put them for down there? Some of these things then will get for study, make Ambazonians they understand. For no say things them they know they fine. If you disrespect the Restoration Council, it means say you disrespect the people of Ambazonia. If you be against your own vice president, you dey against your own secretary of communication, you dey against your own defense department. The defense department they manipulate them. John again one, you don't go create something for them, they call and say a coordination. Even the CTOs and when they newly appoint them, SK Ambazonians them, they know say that they never send that people them for integrate their ANSC. They talk say they want to create some other forum for put them for the. That one already now for set up the new people the way they don't appoint them against the one the way they work now, so that it will create a conflict. And these are some of the things the way they drag we go for back. Ambazonians, you must know that this struggle is for freedom. You need fight for free yourself, for free and begin them. We need to pay allegiance now to the flag and to motherland. We need to pay allegiance to nobody.
All right.
Anybody where he want drag this thing, make it go for back, it will go under the boss.
Thank you.
Irrespective of whosoever.
Thank you. Mr. Nanchop, thank you for the call. Frank, Mr. Nanchop, you were nodding your head there. Briefly, please, what do you have to add there?
Such Chris, this is so sad. I wonder if the people of Ambazonia are listening. This is, I don't know, like these words are gripping my heart so heavily. Let me make one thing clear here. The last caller made some great points. Ambazonians, ask yourself these questions. Why is it that the prolongation of the or the extension of the tenure of the president for 6 months is being recognized by the president and accepted by his cabinet? But the same Restoration Council that says the president should not do any reshufflement, should not do any appointment, the same Restoration Council is regarded illegal. Statements that limit the power of the president, that doesn't work in his favor, they regard them as illegal. But his extension for 6 months, everywhere it was being posted on ABC and everyone, his surrogates were posting it. So the same body makes recommendation to the president, he refuses it. The same body extends his tenure, gives him more power, he accepts it and is glad about it. What is wrong here? Don't you see that something is wrong here, Ambazonians?
All right. Thank you, Mr. Nanchop. Let's get to the next caller here from Ground Zero. Hello.
Hello. I greet everybody waiting for your table.
Where are you calling from? Where are you calling from? Which county, which city are you calling from on Ground Zero?
From Momo County.
All right. Go ahead, please.
I want Sako say, would they look it kindly and the mistake where it make as a leader, it feels that because Ambassador they like it, who like na the platform, who like na the government, who like na the IG. Now whether would support any person for the head. Me someone ever thinks that they love na for you. Because na for the way she say go to be making mistake. People from Ambazonia, what would move hard for you? You know if you bring them back, you don't down that the boss. The first thing I see like a leader way no be patriotic, way no get sense na say. I'm saying it first appreciate people with the work with them. Because move forget anything. The work where you don't do for this revolution, whoever knows say you and Sako na hand to hand. Even if you've been away, if you treat you this way, then that means there is something bigger than what you this year. Yeah. And two, they put you for audit or green, go for audit, but the logical I want to can say, you know the force forgive dog a bad name because you want me to make the hang. You will not see ABC. No, any man will be just for this revolution, no even need for judge you, Mr. Chris. I know because they don't leave ABC for you. Now you the manager, now you the push up, now you the can't cry. When I donate money, they don't say you the manage ABC. No, so to be happen, be hidden for any man. All that is say audit. Now just the things that with the one frame man bed, God don't use you for bring agendas down. He don't try on, we no go condemn me. He don't try on, but you get to know so Ambazonian people who smart. Every man would be very attention, would focus. People need to come for you, Mr. Krishna, because they support you. They don't listen Ambazonia, they know for George very well. They don't listen to everything where you talk. It makes sense, so that they follow up. Ambazonia, they follow na two way, all man they judge up na inside heart. Just start take side. No be say they follow some man. Not because they even tomorrow you, Mr. Chris, you do something a big contrary would put you to back under the bus. Yeah. So me, Mr. Sako, no say whether you fly go or come, the most technical to one talk me they do and I said me the restoration council way they but ask say how much be Cameroon, how much the Ambazonian budget. Me they ask that team, me they announce them. Now they no announce them because they didn't know say the team of the foro. Now the first place that we get them say how much we get them for the budget and how Ambazonian to assess the account. First, because they refuse when they impeach them, they will go with that money. We not make that mistake, we make up for Sako. Yeah, no man will never be in a top farm way, would make money, would keep on people, you can't take and go, say they don't move you. No man will go 5 franc for Ambazonia money this time. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. You guys remain safe out there. Okay, let's get to ground zero again. Hello. Hello, please turn down the volume of your set. Turn down the volume of your set and focus on the phone.
Yeah, Secretary Chris.
Good evening, sir. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Douala.
From Douala, okay. What is your contribution?
Yeah, thank you, Chris, for taking my call. I just want to appreciate for table day, Mr. Nanchop and the brother waiting for day. I want to appreciate when I say Nanchop don't come. He don't talk some very important things where we for Ground Zero and for Larry Play 1 would hear and would be happy. I want to say, Chris, Mr. Sako is the work like how we probably are the work for La Republic. Mr. Sako to go move the vice president. He appoints another vice president. The one that shows say Mr. Sako is the government. It the work now like how we La Republic the work, Mr. Chris. I want to talk say how we will continue this thing. Mr. Nancho don't come with some good points and for day. Very good pertinent points. I talk say get video and he will disprove them. I the praise me Mr. Nancho when that time will reach. We move that video then because if we go for ABC, they talk things and we in the work for our head. Me I the work for one of these private TV that for Douala here. I the shame, Mr. Chris, I the work for one of the private TV them for years upon years. But I the shame for good for TV now because for people that they mock we. Chairman, now that one people they not for them for that side. They fight within themselves. They don't understand themselves. I the shame. I don't work for about 5 private TV that for Douala. I think Mr. Chris, you know, and even Mr. Nacho, even they call me chairman. So I want to talk say these people them whether they call themselves Sakos and the others. Mr. Chris, if they get 2 years mandate and the 2 years mandate don't finish and they get for make election. They get for make election. Why they did deny for make election? Why? So if the term of office it will be 2 years and it will swear in. Say 2 years he will make election. If he come out or he win, okay, continue. But now they will bring some kind of fake documents and I seen yesterday for ABC they read some other documents and say there will be restoration forces and the other people IG them. That one a lie on. The one just remain for cheer for power.
Yeah, comrade, hold on there. What I see going on here is exactly what. Yeah, what I see going on here is exactly what we see going on in La Republique du Cameroon. Where, hold on. Again, what we see going on here is exactly what goes on in politics in La Republique du Cameroon, where you have the youths passing a motion of support writing to the president and giving him emotional support. The women They sent a motion of support to the president and said, you are the only one who can save this country. And then all the workers, they send a motion of support to the president. That's what you are beginning to see as we are speaking right now. I understand there's a letter in the making, supposedly from women on ground zero who want Sako to remain there to Boya. Ladies and gentlemen, it is shameful, it is pitiful that this is what we form a government to practice. If it is a government, let it be a government, and let most of what accompanies a government be practiced. We know we're in a struggle in not everything can be democratic, but certain things like elections, simple elections, we cannot avoid them. Thank you for the call, sir.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Mike, do you have anything to add in there before I take the next caller?
Yes, absolutely. It is, and this has been my concern, Secretary Chris. This has been my concern that, as I mentioned earlier, every action that we take should be measured against the impact on this struggle. Will this action help to galvanize, unify, encourage, motivate, inspire our people to continue taking this fight to La Republic? Will this action do that? I very much doubt it. Because we can see the factions already coming out, people not being very happy with this decision. And that I thought the president would have thought about this and reflected on it, and at least given some time as requested by the Restoration Council, so that we can come to a consensus. We can come to a consensus and speak with one voice, so that when we give an instruction to ground zero, they will know that it's coming from those representing them. But when we have people speaking on the right, people speaking on the left, we are confusing our people. We are confusing them and confusing our fighters and demoralizing them, which is what is really, I really feel so bad about it. The problem is not about the appointment. It's not about the person being appointed. It's not about his qualification. It is about the process and our institutions. Either we have institutions or we don't have them. That's it.
All right.
Do we have institutions we're supposed to respect or not? Let's respect them.
Absolutely. Thank you. Let's get to the next caller here. I think this is from Germany. Hello.
Hello, sir. Good evening, sir. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir. What is in your mind?
Yes, sir. I want to first salute all the panelists. I have 3 points here to make. I want to first of all thank you, Secretary Chris, for announcing to Ambazonian that you are going for audit, because there is something you failed to explain to Ambazonian, of which I know. Out there, rumors have been that the problem is because you refuse to go for audit and so on and so forth. But what I know is that the audit in the government is not done by the treasurer. There is an auditing team, and that is done when they want to audit the entire government. So eventually, somebody was stepping her legs where she was not supposed to step her legs.
Right.
I think you're supposed to explain this to Ambazonian, because people are misinforming people that you embezzle money, so they want to audit you, you refuse that. So you need to explain it properly to Ambazonian. So I want to thank you that you are the first person to announce that you are going for auditing. It shows how you want transparency in this issue. Thank you very much. Then secondly, many people are against the move of the Restoration Council, but I want to say that I applaud the Restoration Council. The move they took for 6 months, many people are against it, but I think it's a very smart move, because the news has been out there. Oh, Kamende Elvis want to plot a coup, they remove the Dr. Sako and so forth and so on. They are not following the procedures. Now the Restoration Council have said, okay, we'll give people 6 months. Call the people in charge of the constitutional and so forth and so on. Put yourself together. Let us draft something good for the election But you people see what is happening. They thought the Restoration Council would not accept that, but the Restoration Council has accepted. But now they are going the other way around. What they are struggling is that they want the Restoration Council to impeach him. But I think the Restoration Council
not to impeach him would be a smart move. Let us go to the end. We know it is time consuming. He has a lot of psychological impact on Ambazonia and so forth, but we need to educate Ambazonia more on this issue because they want things to be scattered. But that is not the aim of the Restoration Council. The Restoration Council is of the opinion that they should fix things. You know, they should fix things. The Restoration Council know Ambazonians don't want Dr. Sako anymore. They know very well. And Dr. Sako himself and his cabal, they know that. They know that he's no longer popular. Now, my last point is that he has... Quickly, please. My last point is that he has set in a lot of division among us Ambazonians. It's very, very bad. A good leader is the one that unites people, irrespective of our differences. And I also want to say that from every indication, they are just manifesting the same thing we see in La Republique, the CPDM motion of support from here and there. It is laughable, disgraceful, humiliating for Ambazonia. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Remain safe out there. Let's see who is next on the line. Okay, this is Ground Zero. Hello.
Yes, hello, Chris.
Hello, where are you calling from, please?
I am calling from the Momo County.
Wow, is it Momo's day today? I think you are the second caller from Momo. All right, go on. You have 1 minute. We have so many people online.
Yes, Chris, I want to appreciate you for being brave for us, especially Nanchop for the unity. We are always here watching AFTV and we are always following ABS. These are our favorite channels now that gives us accurate information because they have confiscated ABC, which was our state TV, and they are now using it for surrogacy for the president, which is really, we are really very sad and unhappy for such a very scandalous move. I just want to say that we are on Ground Zero. We are not foolish. We know what is happening. We have listened to both parties. We can see the population, but we are resilient. We know the truth. I know that at the end, the truth will prevail. The German still, I'm very happy for him. He has been resilient. He has been strong. He has been consistent from the beginning till now. We are proud of him. And we are also proud of you, Chris, because you stand strong for us. We are to you people because you have the truth. I will know that the truth will prevail. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We know that we will stand strong right to the end. And we are very happy. Thank you very much.
Thank you. God bless. Okay.
Thank you.
Hello. Hello.
Good evening, Mr. Chris.
Good evening, sir. Where are you calling from, please?
I'm calling from Belgium.
Belgium is 3-2. I see 3-5-1. This is not Belgium. All right, go ahead anyways.
Belgium.
All right, go on, please.
Yeah, I want to thank Mr. Nanchop, you, and everybody on board. We are happy because we are on track. Yeah, there is no fear. Yeah, ahead. Don't be frightened. We've seen everything. People are removing documents left and right, meaning that they love power. They cannot execute power. If this man was smart enough, if he was a real leader, this problem between you, Ma and Ringo will not even come out. A good leader will press it down immediately. Yeah. So, I want to tell those people who are saying that we should not have a government. We are restorationists. We are restoring our statehood. We are not like some other people who want to separate. So we must have that institution, pursue what we are struggling for, organize ourselves with the institution and the structure. That is to tell you that we are a country already. If you say we don't want institution, that means we are rebels that want to separate from another country.
Right.
That is the first point that we want everybody to understand. Those who just sit and say no, they don't want us to form, we don't need to a government revolution.
revolution, and you are saying that we are restoring our statehood. The English words do not match. Yeah. So stay strong. You the first person who have announced to go for the audit. Even though we know APC was managed by you, go for the audit and let everybody be open up to go to for the same audit. Yeah. It's sad that you have a big voice, you've helped this revolution, and you've been working hand in hand with the man in question. But today, he has decided to nail you as Mr. Pobia nailed Mendoza. We are not afraid. Few conscience, a free conscience fears no accuser.
Absolutely.
Behind you, and they know how to judge. That's why they are. Your TV today is you have bills. They have 150. Ambazonian is telling them that it's time for them to step down. If they like it or not, we love Sisiko. We put every support, but when you fumble, we rule you down. So it's finished for him. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Stay safe out there. Okay. Ground Zero again. Hello. Hello. Good evening. Where are you calling from, please?
I'm calling from Meme country. That's here on the quarter beside the Tiki.
Okay, thanks for the call. What is in your mind?
Well, I wanted to appreciate you for everything. I want to appreciate also Nancho. I love Nancho. I love Jeka. I love the another panel. But what I will appreciate Nancho, that the stomach is not a store. The stomach is not a store. Let him clarify the air. And let him also clarify whosoever call the Resolution Council. Give them, send the Resolution Council the audio. Now, people are behind you. People cannot hold you hostage. People has never hold Cristiano hostage. They will not hold you hostage. Then lastly, I will talk about. I thank you for giving the air those three gendarmes or those three police their names. I love that you should publish them. That people might take it because they are already accusing the resolution. They are accusing the resolution fighters that they are the ones who have killed Mr. Kamende. Thank you for the show.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. We have the three names there on screen. One, Bogne Stéphane Egendam. The second one, Keme Lavoisier. Another gendarme, and then a police, the lone police in that team called with the name Jorgen. Those are the people who killed Barrister Kamende, ladies and gentlemen, not Amazonia Restoration Forces. Let's get to the next caller here. Hello.
Hello, sir. Hello, Secretary.
Good evening, sir. I know you are calling from Ground Zero. Precisely where?
From the Northern Zone.
Okay. You have 1 minute to make your point, sir. Go on.
Okay, sir. Thank you, Secretary. I will start by thanking you for the initiative you started with this ABS, to bring people together. Please keep on with that. Even from the groups you don't align with, you should keep on with that, please. When it comes not to Dr. Sako, I will plead on you, Mr. Nanchop, Jeka, even the female general. I blame you guys a little bit. Why? Because there was this time we were all insulting Eric Tato for bringing out audios. He was just saying the truth. But I believe, or I think you guys knew also about it. But you were mute and you could not give it has taken a long 1 year and plus. Sako has bailed himself more stronger than that. He knew what was going on. He bailed himself a better war against the future. And this is now the future. Trust me, this world,
Comrade, hold on there. Comrade.
Sako will not go out from that place. You are giving up. You are divided.
Comrade, hold on there. Hold on. Listen, I will disagree with what Eric Tato did and said yesterday and today and tomorrow. Eric Tato was concocting stories and putting them out. The fact that you come out with a loud voice and things happen later in the day doesn't necessarily mean you were speaking the truth. No, there were no facts. There were no facts. How about, hold on, I'm not dropping you. How about the fact that, how about the fact that Field Marshal is in Chang and they are talking with him? Those were facts? Hello?
Yeah, hello.
Were there any facts in that?
That what?
That Field Marshal was in Chang and they were talking with Field Marshal.
Sir, maybe we cannot say Eric Tato was a saint. No, we can't say.
No, but what I mean to say is that 90% of the times, 90% of the times, he wasn't factual, and in fact, he was buying robots to watch him. Who goes on TV or on a broadcast and buy robots, as Dr. Sako is doing today? When you begin to buy robots to watch you, you are done. Thank you, sir. You have a great night.
Secretary, please let me chip in something to that.
Okay. There are certain things that are not debatable. The fact that I disagree with what the president is doing today, ladies and gentlemen, doesn't mean that he was wrong yesterday, or somebody who was accusing him yesterday falsely was correct. Not at all. We have to stay on the facts. All right. I think we end it here. I will give both of you 1 minute each. Please start with Mike to just summarize the way forward as you think from here. What should happen going forward here, Mike? What do you want to see?
I would just like to touch on a few things. First of all, the assassination, I should say, of Senator Kamende. If there was any Ambazonian out there who still thought that we had any future with French Cameroon, if a sitting senator can be assassinated on the street of our town, and you just wait and see how that will be handled. Wait and see how that will be handled. And you think that will have a future with them, then good luck to you. With regards to the problems that we are talking about here, first of all, I would like to go back again and talk about the country and regional coordinators coming together again with the various other organs of this interim government, being the counties, the NFC, the ANFC, and other groups, to make sure that we form a partnership and try to continue supporting Ground Zero. What I have to say here, Mr. Chris, is this. What I'm so disheartened about is the fact that this conflict that exists within the interim government may impact our fundraising efforts. I am very concerned, and it troubles me a lot. And I hope that those watching will not withdraw their funding. Rather, they should at least direct their funding to their local government areas and counties and continue to support our fighters on the ground. We cannot abandon them to themselves, please. I'm just begging you.
That is exactly the message, Mike. That is exactly the message. Nobody should take our call not to put money in Sako's treasury to mean we are saying you shouldn't support the work on Ground Zero. And that is why I stated clearly, please support all your draft money. And again, we're not canceling draft money, not at all.
No.
Of your draft money, all of your regular contribution, even CID, send it, ladies and gentlemen, to your county and to your local government. You can hold your counties and your local government to account. You cannot hold right now the treasury to account. And not that we have bad treasurers or a bad treasurer. No, they are very, very competent with what they have done for the past years. But this government has not been audited since my trip to Boya. It has not. 20% from the draft of last year went to the central government. 20% of the draft of this year, 2021, went to the central government. You had the president's basket. You had other sources of income going in the CID, going to the treasury. Those money, nobody understands how they have been deployed. That is why, again, I am going for an audit on Saturday. And I challenge the auditors to bring in Dr. Sako next so that he can explain how he has managed those funds from 2020 draft to 2021. Again, my appeal to all of you is that we cannot allow this extend to our ground zero to then affect our fighters, because they desperately need our support. Ladies and gentlemen, let me add this, and I really mean it. My own brother is there in the bush. People who are politicizing these battles, this struggle, they have no brother, no sister. They have lost nothing. They have lost nothing. They have nothing on the line. They have nothing on the line. And so if somebody think that I will have my brother out there sleeping between trees and allow some people to mess up this struggle, never. You will have to mess me up, kill me before that happens. Thank you, Mike. Mr. Nancho, please, make your point.
Well, Sergio Chris, where do I start and where do I end? You know, a lot have been said this evening, and your last sentences just really got my heart again so deeply. You know, Sergio Chris, when I take a look at social media, you will see a lot of, you see almost everything going wrong. You see Sako surrogates who are bent on insulting people, telling lies, creating fake stories. And the worst of all is seeing that ABC has become a tool of surrogacy. Such Chris, I'll even be radical to say that. I personally would say that, and this is Nanchop saying, that if you've been contributing any money to ABC, please, you should stop. Because, like, let's be honest, the ABC is becoming worse than CLTV. And the purpose for which we all were contributing money to support ABC is not being upheld. So I don't even think, until we see a genuine transformation in what is happening in ABC, I will not support that nonsense. And I don't believe any rational thinking Ambazonia will want to fund that nonsense. That being said, a lot of things were touched, but I want to focus on one thing, the audit. So, Chris, it's very suspicious to me that you were the very first person that was picked out for the audit. I've been following the president's interview in the last days, and we've been checking out what is happening on social media. I had this impression they are cooking up something to frame up a story, to justify their silly actions. And I'll be so glad, Amazonians. I don't know who are the auditors. I don't know how the body for the auditing team has been constituted. But again, I'll be glad if we exhibit justice. We are seeking for justice with La Republic. Then let justice be exhibited. Let us start practicing justice in the House. I will also go as far as to support the plea of Secretary Chris that Dr. Sako should be the next to be audited. You know, their private accounts should be audited. Irene Gwa should go next. You know, these things, we are talking about these things and people are thinking that we are just talking. Fellow Amazonians, well, one other caller made mention of my stomach should not be a store. Listen, one thing I can promise you on ABS right now is that, you know, I was sick in the last days, and so this is, I think, one of the only one that is aware of that. I have not been able to come up live, and today was my ever first show on ABC AFTV. But I want to assure you of one thing. In the next days, we are going to be having educative shows. We are going to make sure we answer your questions and present to you facts. Now, we fulfilled all righteousness, at least things that we decided to keep secret because investigations were still going on because of the stake of the struggle. I personally don't think I have any reasons again to withhold these things from the public, because at least things that we thought were classified, the president himself is using those things to vilify people, to propagate his negative agenda, so as to sell the surrogacy language that others are like public agent. I mean, Secretary Chris just made a statement here. For what reason would he? I mean, his brother is in the bush fighting. Sako knows no one in Sako's village is supporting this war. No one in Sako's family is supporting this war, not in the family of his wife. But yet we have patriots, people who know the cost of this war through the pain of their family and their loved ones. They are sacrificing their money and their everything, and yet you have those who want to politicize this struggle because of their greed and strong, voracious desire for money and power. No, it will not happen. It will not happen, not in 2022. So one thing you can expect in the next days, and I'll show you Amazonians, is that there will be progressive, educative messages from us, the activists, especially from me, Nancho. And these claims I have made in the past weeks, you begin to see those proofs. You'll be having this audios played. You have, how do you call it, witnesses. I talked about the deal that was done, right, in Fako. I'm going to have those who were part of the deal come up and give you details. Details. So let it not be like Nancho was coming up.
You are talking about the Supermon deal that I'm hearing about?
That is just one of the deals, Secretary Chris.
Okay. Okay. Listen, I think Amazonians want to hear that because, again, I like being factual and talking based on facts. Amazonians want to get those facts, and the earlier you bring it on, I think it's going to bring a lot of solution to some of the things that we are talking about.
We are starting without tomorrow, I can assure. In fact, what I can say about this is, from my show tomorrow, we are starting with such things. I think Amazonians are looking forward to that, and I can assure you, the days ahead will be very pregnant. I want to see where Sako will hide his face after all this. You know, I really want to see where Sako. I'm happy he's gone out there and said a lot of things. We have those videos, and we're going to use those things and bring out the facts. I want to see where he will put his face after all this. Amazonians, you'll be the judge at the end of the day, though.
All right, all right. Thank you for being part of today's panel, gentlemen. I look forward to being with you again in the days ahead. You have a great night. All right, all right. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in. That was it for today. I have promised you Monday. Monday, I am having another guest like Thibault Nage. I will be having another guest like Thibault Nage. I am not announcing that guest for some reasons best known to me, but you don't want to miss this show. On Monday, it's going to be inspiring, educating, and revealing. So you want to tune in Monday, 8 p.m. Amber time for that special interview with an international guest. All right. Please, for those of you members of the APP, I am being told that a very, very critical, important APP meeting will be holding tomorrow, Thursday, regular time. I believe they are putting out the link, and everybody, you want to be in that meeting to possibly figure out where do we go? Where do we go from here? I look forward to being there myself. And for those of you who would love again to visit our website, the website is absafricatv.com. That is our website. Ladies and gentlemen, you get on the website, you can click the support button to be able to enroll into our fan club and support ABS. In the meantime, don't forget to hit the bell on the top right hand of your page, both on Facebook and YouTube, so you can get automatic notifications each time we're going live. It was a great pleasure to be with you today, ladies and gentlemen. I am looking forward to being with you again on Monday. Good night. God bless.
Avons de plaisir et peut-être du James Sako. Bato e basu boroko hima se roko e se rono konye nyago se mokana nie denye wo deni roko ke nyago nie denye bato e basu boroko hima se roko se rono konye nyago se mokana nie denye wo deni roko ke nyago ouais mamweni denye denye Deni sokane mi akone deni Oroko deni 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 sokane mi akone deni Mande mangoma si wadi tete konde wo paradis Oroko moto na moko Abene mbonge bakudubi mabatanga Ekombe marondo bananga marondo baliko bakoko Korona barombi ise moto moko Miango marofoni Dembo maruweri Yekori umara kake Na bane bawi sangele Na koro Moto asuna kafenda Ise basusu moto na moko Male Matane koneri Na jumae Ya Ewa wako na ngambo Tomate boye Onyona bema beni Mabe mora ketete Seba moroko Dosa koroko Domwene ise mene Domwene Chacho Domwene ise mene Domwene Was Akonjo Kumbani Aimundo Banyo Waa Abasano Biko Wasane Kale Napatizi na kwa Roti Kumani Sankani Kimani Sankani Kimani Hey Nongomoro kote Ngana ngana nyongoi Ora moyo wane Okatore njayemo Nopani rime Ngana moto mokoi Tomate mindako Okambina ekoko Itangi masusu Isari takae Atoba oroko Ise moto mokoi Atoba oroko Ise moto mokoi Atoba oroko Ise moto mokoi Noka kunde ndaba Ise moto mokoi Noka kunde ndaba Ise moto mokoi Pameni ise na ise wo Ise na ise Oroko ise na ise Ise na ise Ise na ise wo Ise na ise Pameni ise na ise Ise na ise Ise na ise wo Ise na ise wo Ise na ise Ise na ise wo Ah, sema susu moto na moko Otakasume penda Let us learn to help each other Wari yesu kuya mokere Hakesere wabuwo Uya moneke fa moto wasaru wakahemae Oroko let us love each other wo Ise na ise Ise na ise wo Ise na ise Ise na ise wo Yeah Bato basusu bayake basake mosaki Mwasu mende comme ça Comme ça, comme ça Comme ça Comme ça, comme ça That's right moi sous mène comme ça.
Comme ça, comme ça.
Comme ça.
Comme ça, comme ça.
That's right. Imabato basusu bayake basake bosaki moi sous mène comme ça.
Comme ça, comme ça.
Ima comme ça.
Comme ça, comme ça.
Bosaki moi sous mène. Ya. Koba. On recompile la cité d'Oboso. Oboso. Basusu bayake basake bosaki moi sous mène comme ça.
Comme ça, comme ça.
Ima comme ça.
Comme ça, comme ça.